those things. We're just community people that want to protect our property, our values, and our family. Now, the bottom line is that we all want to survive. Black Wall Street, this is what we're trying to regenerate in a small way here in Buffalo. But Black Wall Street couldn't protect themselves because the outside forces were too great. Now, we know we need to work and be around or have help from other people. But the most important thing is Brother Elijah Muhammad used to say, you know, you gotta think of saving yourself. Do for self. Every woman, every man, every child should know how to defend themselves. It don't always take a firearm. There are other ways. Refusing to be a victim is our theme, our mantra. It's a long process. Brother come up and want to get a permit. That's not even touching the surface of what you need. You need the best weapon you got is your head, your mind. As Brother Jomo was saying earlier, we use the spirit. This is great. But you also need to have something to back that up. As Malcolm used to say, if you're nonviolent with me, then I'm nonviolent with you. I have no reason to cause you any harm. But so much harm comes to us, and we don't have a way to defend ourselves. I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to mess up my hair. All that kind of nonsense. When the wolf is at the door, call the police. What's the response time? If they show up at all. You know, white folks think they'll be there in 5 minutes. It still won't matter. You need to be able to protect yourself at the moment the threat is there. And when it's gone, it's gone. But they fear an armed citizen more than the police because they don't expect you to be able to meet their challenge or their threat. You meet threat with threat, violence with violence. Why are we laying back being so daggone nonviolent? Nobody's coming to your aid. Many people pray. Oh, God, he'll take care of it. Sure, he will. If you've got something to match whatever's coming at you, home invasions, women especially. Sister Pat, she's heading up our Sisters with Arms. Talk to her. See her sometime today as you move around. You need to know how to handle yourself in case no one is around. Last year, I went to Albany. The snow was melting, falling off the roof. My wife calling me panically. I told her, I said, honey, I can handle it when I'm here. But what are you going to do when I'm not here? She said, nah, honey, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, but don't want to make it to a point when it's too late. So the bottom line simply is that Dory Miller, without training, because anyone knows in World War II, I know Brother Burnett knows it, anyone in World War II fought in the war. There was segregation, which blew my mind. There was no training. You did all the dirty work. You did all the cooking, just like the native people did when first Thanksgiving. You know what they did? But we were doing the cooking, but they never invited you back. White folks, for the most part, have to control everything and everybody. They can't control you unless you know who you are. So you got to be able to defend that who you are as well. But my final comment is that when he shot down many jet planes with a 50 caliber machine gun, anti-aircraft gun, he didn't know how to fire, but he just realized he watched enough people pull the trigger, shot down many planes. They gave him the highest honor the Navy offered was a Navy Cross. And then they sent his ass back to the kitchen. That's a slight. That's what I'm upset about. That we let these things happen. It's not going to happen with me and anyone else who wants to be able to handle their business. And it's up to us because no one's coming. You can pray. You can think the police are going to be your protectors. No, your children are going to be looking to you. We train you so you can train your family. That way, geometrically, we progress. 2, 4, 6, 8, 16, 32. That's how we grow. We start small. Black Wall Street is what I have in mind. To be able to protect our businesses, our interests, and our children. Education starts at home, not in the school. Sam's always on the feet on that. Need to knock that off. They need to know our history. That comes from us. They're not going to teach you. Your enemy's not going to give you what you need to defeat them. They got us bamboozled, hoodwinked, and all of that. Just time to stop. If you're interested, we'll be around. Brother James Hammond is here from the club as well. Sam, any questions you have, feel free to comment. But we invite all of you to come out this Wednesday to commemorate one of our heroes, Dory Miller. Thank you.
All right, let's give another hand for Brother Kevin Dixon. That's an important role in our community, and somebody got to play it. And so we appreciate him and Brother Akil and all the brothers from and the sisters from the Dory Miller Gun and Rifle Club who have taken the responsibility to ensure that we're able to protect our community. Next thing I want to do, and I'm absolutely 1,000% sure she don't want me to do this. We haven't started the program yet. I just want to take advantage of the fact that people are eating right now. How many people have been to the Rocky Green Center before? Raise your hand. So most people have been here before. Do it normally look like this? No. So all this red, black, and green, and all this beautiful decoration. How does it look? How does this? So I want to acknowledge that last night at 10, 11, 12 o'clock, my mother was up here decorating this whole room. So here's my mother, Miss Irene. Sanders, stand up, Mom. All right, Brother Jay, my dad here. Also, Dave, along with my son, they all came and they set this whole thing up, and I want to make sure we appreciate all their hard work. So thank you again, Mom. All right. So go back to eating, and then we'll get started with the program after we give everybody a chance to eat. Okay. Thank you, appreciate it. Patricia.
I'd like to have your attention. Greetings. Continuing at this time, I'd like to present a letter from one of my sons. It's going to be read by one of my other sons. The son that wrote the letter, his name is Jalal. He couldn't be with us today. He's currently in prison. It's a situation where you hate the sin, but you love the sinner. And he's paying a heck of a price for what he did, but we do our best to keep him involved. What we have to do is we have to keep all of our people involved. We have too many talented people across the country that are currently incarcerated. So we have to keep open mind, open heart. So just give an open heart and an open mind to his words and take them to heart because I think they're absolutely correct. So here's one of our hosting team, my youngest son, Najee, and just listen to the words from his brother. Thank you.
Dear beloved council of elders, I begin by bearing witness to and giving all praises and glory to my Creator who is one, all merciful and all wise. Secondly, I would like to sincerely send you all my warmest salutations of peace and blessings. Although I feel unworthy to speak in your honored presence, I am humbled by the opportunity to share a few words that may inspire or perhaps help in some way to bring awareness to the cause of empowering our community. Therefore, I would like to briefly talk about the importance of the economic empowerment of the Black community. I believe that our financial dependence on every other ethnic group except our own is one of the greatest obstacles to our growth and development as a people. In order to have any real say-so on what goes on in our community, it is essential that we must first own our community. We have to come out of the stage of being financially illiterate and get educated in the field of economics. This doesn't mean that you have to go out and get a degree in economics. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that we all can do our part by keeping our money in our community. I want to share a statistic that I read a while ago because it is one that I think is crucial to this topic. The Jewish dollar, I am talking about $1, circulates 9 times within the Jewish community before it goes out of that community. The Asian dollar, on average, circulates 6 times before it leaves the Asian community. Now let me stop there for a second because I want to show you the important dynamic between controlling your finances and controlling your community. Do you see any Jewish people or Asian people protesting about the poor education in the communities or police brutality? poor housing or any of the unequal practices and oppressions that plague the Black community? The answer is no, and you will never see that in Chinatown or any Jewish neighborhood, because not only do they own their communities, they are committed to keeping them strong by taking the money that they make off of us and circulating it amongst their own. Do you know how many times the Black dollar circulates within the Black community? On average, the Black dollar circulates one time in our community. That's a very sad statistic. That means theoretically, the Black dollar doesn't even enter the Black community. Some folks say that the problem is that we are not making enough money to spend in our community. That is not true, brothers and sisters, because there is another shocking statistic. Did you know that annually Black people in this country as a whole get about $1.1 trillion out of the US economy? That number means that if hypothetically speaking, the Black people in America were one independent nation, we would be the 9th richest country in the world. I'm sure that some of you are aware of that statistic, and perhaps many of you weren't. Either way, it shouldn't be that much of a surprise that as Black people have always been the greatest producers in this country. We literally built it from the ground up. Our problem is that we are also the biggest consumer in this country, and we have to stop that. We have to correct that. When you own your own house, you get to say what goes on in that house. I believe that if we can begin to address this issue, we can not only improve the standard of living in our community, but we can also possess the power to protect it. Thank you for your graciousness. I love you all. Jalal Peoples.
All right, was that a good word from the Brother Jalal? Let's give a big hand for Brother Jalal and Brother Najee. Before we get ready to start, the next thing I want to do is I want to just reel everybody. How was that food that we got at Brother Bill? Look at you, put your hands up there. So let's give a big hand to Brother Bill People's family. Let's give a big hand for all the work they've done to make this meal. All we told you is that the food is good. So we can't ever complain about that. And we don't do nothing but get it. And I'm not talking about just Brother Bill, the physical food. The physical food is great, but the whole event, the fact that we do the event is great. So thank you again. One more round of applause for the wonderful Bill. All right. So we get ready to get started, everybody. Brother Bill, we ready to roll? Anything else before we get ready to go? All right. So I know some people are still eating. So what we want to do first and foremost, everybody, is I know we opened earlier with a prayer associated with the blessing of our food. But what I want to do now is ask everybody, can just take a moment and just stop where you at. And we're going to make an effort to find some silence. All right? So I'm going to respect our elders' conversation over here. You know what I'm saying? We let lazy. That's our elder, so we're going to let her finish her conversation. You know what I'm saying? When she finishes her conversation, we go, all right. Thank you, mother. All right. Everybody, generally, when we open up by acknowledging the presence of a true and living God. But I want us to, if we can, just try to take a minute and not just give word service to the presence of God. I want us to, if we can, see if you can make a connection inside of yourself. If God exists, and God exists in you, are you some kind of way connected to God? Are you an extension of the presence of God? And if you can find that God's proof of God's existence is in you and in your breathing, the part of you that really genuinely believes in the presence of God, I want you to connect to that part right now. And while you're connecting to that part, whether you like the person next to you or a person around the room, I want you to also realize that the same God that created you created them. And ain't nobody walking around here no better or no more important to God than nobody else. Amen. And so we all are in the same struggle to manifest this presence of God in us. And so we all, to the extent that we can struggle together, we have a better chance of helping us all live out the real possibility of God's presence. So I want us to take a nice deep breath, acknowledging the presence of a true and living God, acknowledging the presence of God in myself and in God in my neighbors. We call on God to come in the midst of us individually. We call on God to come in the midst of us collectively. And we're praying that the words that comes from our elders today, that the hearing that comes to our youth today is all in alignment with God's divine will, and it fulfills our purpose in life. We give thanks to God for already success in this event. We acknowledge that we stand here as an extension of God and our ancestors, and we ask for your grace and mercy over this event. Amen. With acknowledging the presence of God, the next thing we want to do, everybody, is we want to take a minute and take full and complete responsibility for acknowledging that there's nobody in this room. Maybe it is, let me check. Anybody in this room create themselves? So since ain't nobody in this room created themselves, that means we all stand here because of somebody who came before us. We all stand here as an extension of our ancestors. So all those people who lived before us are here, we are here because of them. And we have to take responsibility for keeping the name of our ancestors alive. You know what I'm saying? You know, there's other people that take responsibility for keeping their names of their ancestors alive, right? Because is he alive? Is George Washington alive? No. Yeah, but he on his money though, ain't he? So we keep his name alive, don't we? We keep his picture alive because they see him as the founder of this country. You know, so where's the names in the pictures of our ancestors? Do our children know who our ancestors are? So we went to our children, can they name their grandmother, their great-grandmother, their great-great-grandmother? See, that's going to be our responsibility. Because if they can name the grandmother and who all the people is on all the talk shows, or they know all the family members on all the soap operas, and they all know all the people on Empire and Scandal, and they know all those people. But if you ask them who is their grandmother, who is their great-grandmother, and where did she or he come from?
Get quiet.
You say, what do I have, Brother Mark?
Get quiet.
It get real quiet. And so one of the things that we have to be able to do in a very real way at the convening of the elders is we have to make sure that we take responsibility for saying out loud the names of the ancestors who we stand as an extension of. You know what I'm saying? So if the only time your children hear it is at the convening of the elders, we're going to make sure they hear it here. All right? So we want everybody to think about, if you have an ancestor, and everybody know who I mean, every time I get in front of a group of people, I make sure I say Mary May Liza Coleman. They know that's my grandmother, because I love her, because she loved me. I keep the name of Mary May Liza Coleman alive. I say the name of Brother Ayman Dawood, because he's an elder in this community, an ancestor in this community who took responsibility for making sure that I knew the things I needed to know to be able to do the things I'm doing in the community. So those ancestors that we are personally responsible for, I'm personally responsible for Mary May Liza Coleman. I'm personally responsible for Samuel Leon Radford Sr. I'm personally responsible for General Davis and for Betsy Waiters and for Blessy Davis. And I can name generations back. I can go to Benjamin Radford. And so I'm personally responsible for calling out those names. And I'm personally responsible for making sure that my children and my grandchildren know those names. And so I want you right now, where you at, to think about those names you are personally responsible for. All right? And I want you, when we say so, to begin calling out their names so that people can hear them. All right? So you might say a name loud enough, somebody say, oh, wow, that's my grandfather too. Your cousin might be in the room somewhere, you don't even know it. All right? So we want to acknowledge the presence of our ancestors by doing a living libation. We're asking everybody to think of at least one ancestor right now. And when I say Ashe, to call out the name of that ancestor. So Ashe. excellent. Whoa, that's very, very good. I mean, that's the most of the room, right? So let's see if we can get folks to call out 2. Okay, see if you can call out another ancestor, somebody who's not here, but if they wouldn't have lived, you wouldn't have lived. You know what I'm saying? Call their name out. Call up another. Right on. See, this is how we do it, everybody. All right, now let's see who can keep going. Who can name 3 or 4 ancestors? There we go. All right. So if you run out of names, listen, you might hear one. All right, having acknowledged our personal responsibility. And I'm gonna ask people to think about this, right? You see around the walls, you see that big picture here of Muhammad Ali? You see on the walls those kind of pictures, and up over here, those kind of pictures. You're gonna see on the Fillmore corridor coming from East Ferry all the way to Parade Street, those banners are gonna be on the flagpoles all the way up Fillmore. Those are our ancestors. Some of them are ancestors, you know what I'm saying? So you can give a hand for that, right? So that's gonna be our effort to make sure that we're keeping those names of those ancestors alive. But what I'm gonna actually do now, there are some people, everybody, who sometimes, at the expense of their own family, they step up and they fight for a whole group of people. They fight for a whole community of people. They fight for a whole race of people. And sometimes their families suffer because of that. Can y'all think of some people like that? Amen. People who have fought for a community. You raise your hand, Brother Lyon. Let's give us an example. What's an example of somebody like that? Right, I'm talking about an ancestor. Give me an ancestor. Right, well, I'm really talking about specifically an ancestor who has been a sacrifice for the whole community, and sometimes at the expense of their family. Sister Pettis.
I just want to name Beverly A. Gray, who served so much in CAO, and she went from there to Councilmember at Large, representing the city of Buffalo citywide. Even though she's a citywide representative, her focus was on her community. Her focus was on African American as a people, because she knew that we need that voice and advocacy. And so she was a great, great person. She was a great council member. She was one of the protege of Senate person Arthur O. Eves. And she did great, and had she not died so suddenly and so young, I think this community, Fillmore and Jefferson, would be a whole lot better than it is right now.
Yes, sir. Brother, Sister Beverly A. Gray, that's a wonderful name. Give a hand. And since we're sitting in the center named after him, see that big picture over there on the wall? How many people know that brother there? You see, Brother Rafi Green. Do anybody know anybody who worked harder than that brother? You know what I'm saying? That brother, we named this center after him because our intent was to live up to that legacy of how hard that brother worked. You know what I'm saying? So Rafi Green is an example of a brother who made a sacrifice for all of us. Can we think of names of other people who made sacrifices for all of us?
Lumen Ross.
Brother Lumen Ross, Black Chamber of Commerce.
Carol Horn.
Well, Carrie Horn, she's still here. She definitely made a sacrifice for all of us, right? Sister Minnie Gillette. Keep that name alive, Sister Minnie Gillette. Bill Gator. Let's keep that name alive. Bill Gator. Viola Hill still here, still making those sacrifices. And we're going to acknowledge that a little bit later.
Johnny B. Wiley.
Johnny B. Wiley. That's a powerful name. You got to say the name of Johnny B. Wiley. Joy McDuffie. Let's keep Joy McDuffie name alive. Herb Blyden. Yes, sir. Herb Blyden. That's right.
Bennett Smith.
Bennett W. Smith. Yeah, them are important names.
James Pitt.
Brother James Pitt. He's still here making them contributions. So let's distinguish the two. But let's keep the names of people who made sacrifice alive. Brother Seymour Twiggs. That's right. Kaleidoscope competitions.
Ambrose Lane.
Ambrose Lane.
David Collins.
First African American to run for mayor in the city of Buffalo, right? That's right. Shirley Chisholm, his wife, right? No. After who was she with? After Harvard? She was with the Harvard, right?
David
Right.
Collins.
Brother Dave, he's still here though, right? Yeah, but let's talk about the sacrifice. He definitely made a sacrifice, Brother Dave. Ollie Scott, that's right. Definitely, Sister Ollie Scott.
Greg Brown.
Greg Brown. I ain't heard that name in a while. Brother Greg Brown. Yes. Yes. Herb Bellamy. That's right. Herb Bellamy Sr. That's right. Sister Bert Lockett. Ed Lawrence. Baba Simba. He's in love. Baba Simba.
Sherman L. Walker.
Yeah, Sherman Walker. The funeral home. Sherman Walker.
I was thinking of Thurgood Marshall and the first black lady that ran.
Shirley Chisholm. That's right. Brother Thurgood Marshall, Shirley Chisholm. So we talk about local people, and it's important. No, we coming to you. What you saying? See, sometimes we complain because our children don't know our history, but we don't actually take the time to say the names. And now, and this is a really important point to note, we got this room packed, you know what I'm saying, and we're here, and we're going to be doing the convening of the elders here today, but this is also being live streamed. So people all over the world, people all over the country, the things that are being said here, people will be able to capture and know. So when we say these names, it gives our young people a chance to go do some research, find out who these people were, what they did, and then it gives them some people's names to put on some buildings. Because we can't just keep letting other people put their names on. In the middle of our community, we got other people's names on the building. We got enough people in our community who made sacrifices to put some names of people who put their life on the line on some of these buildings to keep their names alive. All right?
Romeo Doyle.
Brother Romeo Doyle. Dr. Jesse Nash. Dr. Monroe Porter.
Willie A. Davis Sr.
Willie A. Davis Sr. You know what I'm saying? So, huh?
Frank Merriweather.
Frank Merriweather. That's right. Wait, senior, right? Frank said he's still doing it. That's right. So Frank Merriweather Sr. You know what I'm saying? Joseph Hodge.
Bishop William Henderson.
Bishop William Henderson. He's still doing it too, right? All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to just take a few minutes, and because we acknowledge a lot of the people who made that sacrifice on a local level. But there are some people in the vein of a Marcus Garvey, a Harriet Tubman, a Sojourner Truth. You know, there's a wonderful movie out right now about Nat Turner. There's some people who on a national or international level gave their names, and we want to make sure our children hear those names. So who are some of the national or international leaders who have made the difference, whose names we got to keep alive? Like Brother McIntyre said, Brother Thurgood Marshall.
Malcolm X.
Nelson Mandela. Malcolm X.
Fannie Lou Hamer.
Robert Franklin Williams.
Robert Franklin Williams. Frederick Douglass.
Martin Luther King.
Dessalines. Nat Turner. Ida B. Wells. My sister Barbara Jordan. See, this is important, everybody. Maya Angelou. When we say these names, these spirits are fed. The spirits stay alive. And our kids, they can take the name now and Google it and get a picture, an image, a voice instantaneously. But we have to say the name. Huey Newton. Huey Newton.
Madam C.J. Walker.
Madam C.J. Walker. Them are the names. And so we want to take the time. We want to take the time to acknowledge that. You know, we also want to do this. Brother Chris, come on up here. Brother Chris, come on up here, right? Khalil Muhammad, right? So while we're talking about doing it today at the convening of the elders, and while we're talking about doing it as a live stream, let me talk a little bit about this brother. I don't know if everybody knows who this is, but this is Brother Chris Reynolds. What's your title over here? He's the brand manager, you know what I'm saying? But he is the one running the show over at WBLK. And he has a campaign. Let's give a big hand for Brother Chris Reynolds. Come on. He has a campaign so that while our children are listening to music, you hear those the parent principles, you hear those know thyself principles. He is doing his work to try to keep it alive. Why don't you say a little bit about the Know Thyself campaign so people can tune in to that?
Yeah, actually, it started right before Barack became president back in 2008. And it's kind of similar a little bit, but the brother Raffin and I have been talking, and coming, I guess, within the next couple of months, we're going to start it again on a real nice, hard level like we did before. I just trying to get a lot of youth involved that can actually, give us a different spin on it. But I definitely, I'm in the process of bringing that back in a real big kind of way. So basically, again, it's just bringing awareness and just understanding that a lot of our youth, really need. And one of the challenges that we have is because of today's music and the climate and all the things that are going on, but just to get those positive messages out in between, some of the other things that we do on the station is definitely where we're headed. So that's definitely on the way back, and I'm looking forward to bringing that to the community.
All right,
So thank you so much.
That's good, my brother.
Yeah, so that's a very important part of keeping our truth alive, about who we are and what we've done. The Know Thyself campaign. So look for the Know Thyself campaign. And if you have events like Dory Miller Day,